Is your OneDrive is out of control? You have files stored everywhere. There's folders you don't even know where they came from because you didn't create them. Well, in this video, I am going to share where files are stored in OneDrive, as well as some tricks and tips to get your files under control. So let's get started. What is OneDrive? It's your personal work files saved in the cloud. Remember when we saved our work files on our local drive, but we could not share it with others without getting IT involved? Now you have control over sharing your files with people internally and externally. You can give others edit or view access to the document, but Microsoft controls where some of your files are stored, and I'll share that with you a little later on in the presentation. But when should you save to OneDrive? If you have a short-term project or sharing documents with one or two people, for an example, I was working with a web developer out of Nigeria. I'm located here in the United States. I created a folder and stored and shared about 10 media assets with him. And instead of sending emails every time I made a change, we both worked from OneDrive. Once the website was completed, I removed his access from the OneDrive folder. That is a good example for you. So let's discuss, where OneDrive files are stored. OneDrive contains many folders very similar to our local drive. However, Microsoft will create system folders. Some files are stored in OneDrive's root directory. You have created some, custom folders as well. And these files are displayed on the Microsoft homepage. So your file management is crucial for your daily workflow. Let's look at each one of these closely in the demonstration. Okay, so I have navigated to Adele's OneDrive. I have clicked on My Files. So I want you to take note is under the sharing column, you will notice that folder or item is marked private. That means that only you have access to it. If you look down here further, that if anything that is shared, that means that you have shared it with others. So make note of that as you start to file and save your documents. Now, if you have forgotten, who you have shared your information with, go ahead and click on the column and hit shared. It will show you that you shared it with Nestor. And if you want to change the type of sharing access, you can easily do that from here as well. Let's talk about system folders. You get folders to store your meetings, transcript, and recordings. And if you're using OneNote, Notebook, and even some Teams related folders as well. So Microsoft tries to keep your content organized. Now, with the shared folder, it's just really, filtering on the content from the My Files folder, and same thing with the favorite. Now, the recycle bin holds deleted documents for 30 days for personal accounts and 93 days for work or school accounts. Now, if you delete it again before the 93 days, it will move to the second stage recycle bin. And that is really the SharePoint site collection. And you have to work with your, IT department to get access to those files. So you can easily restore these files if you need to. Another system folder that you need to know about is the Microsoft Teams chat files. Notice that I have files here, but users generate, files that's here. Let's go to Microsoft Teams and I'll show you. So in Microsoft Teams, if we click on the chat icon, notice that in the chat file, we have some loop components and we have a document. If I click on the file tabs here, they are listed here as well. So a couple of things I want you to take note of is, notice in the file tabs, we have 3 files here, and the fluid files are the loop components. Let's go back to chat. These are the same files. So if I jump over to OneDrive, click on My Files, when I look up under this Microsoft Teams chat files, under file size, it says there's 6 items here. So they actually, double counted these files. I'm not sure why Microsoft did that. I know that it confuses a lot of people because they're looking for 6 files when it's only really 3. So just keep that in mind. Did you like that last tip? If you did, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more Microsoft tricks, tips, and news. So let's talk about the root directory. So if we scroll down here, you'll see that files that were not saved in a folder or a Teams channel are listed here right at the root. Although Microsoft allows you to save, to a channel, I still, recommend saving it to a SharePoint site as much as possible. But there's no organization here. When files are stored in the root, this is the biggest time waster. It's unproductive. It disrupts your day when you're unable to find your files. So what can you do? Create custom folders. So it's really easy. Few clicks. Hit the new button, hit folder, and you're going to give it a name. And the next thing that I would recommend is develop a naming convention, right? So, for an example, let's call this Summer Walk Group. And I would add double zeros here. So why do I do that? Well, I can look here and see that these are my active folders that I have created. Here, these items are Microsoft system folders. Once the project is completed, I add a Z in front of my title because now I know that it's inactive. So again, it's all about visually being able to look at my OneDrive and know what belongs to me and what belongs to Microsoft system folders. So I have jumped over to Microsoft 365 homepage. Just a quick reminder, it is important for you to save your files in the appropriate folders or teams when you create them. It's just going to help you with being organized. So let me just quickly show you. When you click on the Create button and your document opens, just make sure you come here, choose the location where you want that file to be stored. If not, it will default to your root directory. And as we previously discussed, it's best to avoid clutter in your root directory by saving files in the designated location. Let's look up under the quick access. One of the things I want you to know is when all is selected, that all the files, is coming from OneDrive, Teams, in SharePoint. And so this could be overwhelming. Here is the tip for the day. Click on this plus sign and click on Owned by Adele. And now you're only showing items that you own. This is just going to help you narrow down your items. Now you know how and where OneDrive documents are stored. Let's cover some of the best practices and tips. So the first one is make sure you save your files into folders. It is better, that way to manage your files. You can find them so much easier. Developing a naming convention. This is going to help you organize your files in a visual way. Using filters on the homepage, narrowing your search, results on your homepage so you can, again, find your stuff so much faster, and use some of the existing ones too. If you know the file's name, use the search functionality. It will, cut down time looking for a file as well. And lastly, Save all team related content in SharePoint. It is truly the best way. This is going to cut down, but not eliminate, manually sharing your files with individuals. Now, go work your magic.